Between you and Jameis, who gets to do the first pregame speech?
Who got the road speeches and who got the home speeches? That's what I want to know. Peace. Welcome back to 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. I'm Carmelo Anthony here with my co-host.
You know what it is? My name is Kazim Famiwide. You can call me Kaz. And this is a Wave original by FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the National Basketball Association. Guys, the guest on the couch today needs no introduction, but he's getting one anyway because he's not just new to the hook. He's new to the city, a Super Bowl champion, 10-time Pro Bowler, now the starting quarterback for your New York Football Giants. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the hook, Russell Wilson.
Hey, it's good.
What up?
It's good to be on here. You said it right. Your New York Giants. You a Jets fan, though. So whatever you are, we ain't on over here.
Set the tone. Let's set the tone.
Yeah,
I can be a professional.
We're getting out the way
That's
now.
why we separated that seat right there. You know?
Exactly.
That's why we separated that.
Yeah.
Hey, man, hey, it ain't about the Jets today. It's about the Giants. But in any case, Melo, talk to us, man. What can we expect in today's episode?
Yeah,
brother?
so on this episode with Russ, we're going to talk about what it's like playing for legendary coaches. How does a quarterback manage wide receivers and their egos? And of course, we're going to talk about Russ playing with the New York Giants.
Yes.
But first, let's kick things off.
You know what it
Kaz.
is. Same way we always kick it off. We kick it off right here on 7 p.m. in Brooklyn with the Connect. Russ, every time we have guests on our illustrious couch right here, we love talking about their first interactions, their first connections, the first time they link with our fearless leader, Carmelo Anthony. So, Russ, talk to me about the first time yourself and Carmelo Anthony crossed
Man, the
paths.
first time I ever saw Mel actually was at a game. We were playing Super Bowl here in MetLife, Seattle Seahawks versus the Denver Broncos. And it was that week that we were getting here. You get here a whole week early, you know, you practice for 2 weeks basically. And, you know, we got here on that Sunday. I think that Monday night, I went to go see you guys play.
Yep.
And I got to sit, you know, courtside at the Garden or whatever. And I just remember watching him play. What I remember, though, more than anything else is I remember watching the warm-ups. I don't think this dude missed one shot, the whole warm-ups, pregame, everything.
It took 3.
Yeah, you were out there early. You were out there early. And I just remember, I remember that process. I remember watching greatness in that. You guys won that game. I remember being also, too, the cool part about that night was I was, at halftime, I was with Mariano Rivera.
Wow.
And a little clubhouse area or whatever. And I got to talk to him for a while. So look, like 2 of my favorite athletes, Mel and Mariano Rivera, watching those guys and talking to them. And then fast forward, Mel and I got to spend a lot of time actually together at our wedding, me and Ciara's wedding in Liverpool.
Nice.
And that was a good night because
was a great night.
What happened was the wedding started at 6, right? We have a whole thing, you know, a great night, all this kind of stuff. Funny thing is wasn't supposed to start at 6. We started about an hour later because, you know, Ciara's, I think Little Future, he pulled Ciara's dress tore it, so they had to fix it.
Oh, wow.
Night started at 7. We had Marvin Sapp singing.
Yep.
But the funny part is I had the ring, I put it on Ciara's hand, all that kind of thing. They forgot my ring.
Yeah, that's a fact.
So I'm like, shoot, okay, everybody's looking around, we have a good time. Fast forward, we get married, you know, do our thing. Have the dinner, and then I have a surprise for everybody. Nobody knows. And, you know, we flew everybody out to Liverpool. It was a good time. So we're out there, and it's about 100 total people, 50 people on my side, 50 people on C's side. So anyway, so we're having a good night, and the night's supposed to, you know, we do our first dance, the whole thing. Fast forward, I said, hey, behind the black curtain, we got a surprise for you guys. We open up the black curtain, and we open it up, and it's Earth, Wind, and Fire performing.
That's a fact.
And it was a 21 person band. They played 13 songs that night. Me and Mel were up in the front dancing, getting on, having a good time. And it was just, the best part about the night was we had this little spot. It was in like a little castle, like the Peckerton Castle is called. And underneath, probably around like 12 o'clock at night, we went down underneath. And I don't think anybody left till about 6:30. I remember we got up, and the sun came up, and it was the next day already. So that was a good time. I just remember seeing Mel over there having a good old time in the corner, doing his thing. sipping on
We was in
something.
Liverpool.
I was about to say, what you remember about that night, man?
We was in Liverpool. I was dancing on the Titanic over there. That's where the Titanic at. Like, you know what I mean? Like we was over there just having a good time. Once they told me it was a Titanic, I'm like, oh shit! Like we were definitely gonna have a good time over here.
Yeah, so it was a
great time.
It was a good night, good time, you know, and that's what I remember.
Damn, I was just want to say.
That's a hell of an entrance, right? Introductory.
I'm about to
right?
say, like, surprise Earth, Wind, and Fire. I know a lot of people know you as a quarterback and all that type of stuff, but many people know you as somebody who sets the bar extremely high for dudes everywhere with what you do with the weddings and everything, and the love you show, obviously, to your lovely wife, Ciara. So that's really dope that y'all had that great time at the wedding, man. That's
it was
incredible.
fun, man. I just, C is easy to love, man. She's Mel knows just how great she is. She's just an amazing person, best friend, and so we got 4 kids now. It's just like we're rolling deep now, man. It's been cool.
Yeah, you trying to pop out that fifth. We see the IG
comments.
Gotta run the fives, man.
Gotta have a starting 5, right? I mean, gotta have a starting 5.
Gotta run the fives, man. But yo, let's talk about playing in New York, man. Like, this is I think it's an incredible opportunity for you, man. You talk about the first time seeing Melo was at, courtside, and you've been courtside a lot of games this year, ever since signing with the New York Giants this offseason. And, you've definitely taken a bite out the apple quickly. Like, you've definitely embraced yourself and ingratiated yourself to the city, even before, training camps and OTAs. So let's talk about your first season with the Giants. What led to your decision to come to New York? I know we were thirsty for somebody that could throw that rock. I know Malik Neighbors, who was here a few weeks ago, was thirsty for someone who could throw him that rock. If there's anything we know about Russell Wilson, is he could throw that joint deep and go get it.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
What led to the decision?
Man, I was just excited because, for me, New York and this opportunity here to play here, the world's biggest market, one of the toughest divisions in football, a lot of odds against you. A team that I played against last year when I was in Pittsburgh, we played, it was, a good game and everything else. But I turned on the film and watching this guy, Malik Neighbors, man, this dude's a superstar. I saw him, I was watching the film and just before I try to make decisions, try to get a clear understanding of who the players are, this and that. And obviously you see the highlights and everything else, but when you watch every single catch and every single rep and every play, you get to see the kind of player he is, man. He's dynamic. He touches that football, he gone. And so I remember watching this one clip. He caught a quick little screen against the Colts or whatever, a little short little throw, and he took it to the house, I don't know, about 60, 70 yards. And so that was like, okay. Then I saw him against the Commanders catch a shallow cross. He ran on 3rd down, and I think it's 3rd down 6, 3rd down 7. He caught the shallow cross from left to right, hit the sideline, ran through a dude, got back up, got hit pretty hard, got back up, didn't flinch, went right back to the huddle. So, I mean, his toughness, his ability. And I really like Daboll too. Obviously watching Dabes over the years, he's a guy who was a coach of the year, I don't know, 2-3 years ago. Brilliant mind, spending time with him. I actually came out here last year before I signed with Pittsburgh last time too. And I just had a great appreciation of his mind for the game and how he saw the game. And so, and another thing for me is I don't shy away from any challenge, man. I'm just not, anybody who really knows me is I don't blink. I don't blink in the face of adversity. I don't blink in any obstacle or any challenge. And so I actually look forward to them. I think that a lot of times, the best way to find greatness is to run through it. And so to me, I think that you got to go through walls and you got to be able to climb them and you got to be able to go over them. And so, for me, I think the opportunity here is so great, man. And, I don't mind the lights, I don't mind that part of it. I think the other part of it for me, most importantly though, of all of that is I've been here before. When you walk into a stadium, into a locker room and like my locker is the same locker I had when I won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And so for me, when I see that, I'm like, when I walk into that stadium, I'm like, I've been here before. Like, not just been here, but like we did this before. And so I fundamentally believe it's possible again in terms of just being successful again and being at the highest level. And so I think we got the right guys, the defensive line, how they rush and all that. So there's a lot of good pieces to it. And it's the show.
That's a fact.
How you mentioned that you took a visit here last year. How close were you to sign with the Giants last year before you eventually ended up with the Steelers.
Yeah, we're definitely close. I mean, I think it was.
You should have signed with him last year,
right?
He went to the ops last year. I'm like, man, I can't even cheer for my brother. Like.
No, man. Pittsburgh was a good place for me, man. It really helped rejuvenate, me in every way, just because of the locker room there, the pros, man, guys like T.J. Watt and Cam Hayward, and guys like Miles Killebrew, those captains, and then just the guys I was around, man, the hard work that those guys put in. I mean, I remember seeing a guy like Calvin Austin, young star who just wanted to be great, came to San Diego, wanted to work with me, and just guys that I really appreciate, guys like Najee Harris and how he went about, practicing hard every day, and just different guys you get to know. Teammates like Dan Moore, who I got to be really close with, and many others. There's so many guys I can't even name, but just I think it was just cool to be around that, the experience of the history of Pittsburgh, but obviously Coach Tomlin too as well, and who he is as a man, a guy from Virginia, black coach who's been successful. It was really unique to be around his mentality and all that too, and to really experience that again, similar to Pete Carroll in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And so here with Dave's, man, I'm excited because of his offensive wizardry is really special,
Mm-hmm.
and so him and Kafka, a guy who played quarterback in the league, and just the rest of the staff too. I know my quarterback coach Shea, known him since I came into college. I was 18 years old, and he was on the staff helping at NC State. So, man, it's just people that I know and people that I believe in, and I'm excited about the opportunity to play in this great organization.
That's great, man. I mean, Eli Manning put out a video welcoming you to the Giants franchise, to the organization, to the city. I'm sure you and Eli have had many conversations about what it's going to be like being here in New York City. Melo, I'm sure you guys have lots of conversations being here in New York City. You say you're not afraid of the lights. You've been here before, but this is New York. This is New York football. Yeah. You know what I mean? It could go. We haven't seen a ton of, happy days outside of the Eli years and such. And I think this is sort of the year where I think everybody in the Giants organization is sort of on those, I don't want to say hot seat completely, but, everybody knows, all right, it's time to help turn this thing around. So, in addition to Eli welcoming you in and not being afraid of the lights, like just in general, what does it feel like to you to be the quarterback for a New York football team?
Man, just the enthusiasm, man. Just the enthusiasm around the city. Walking around, in the streets of New York, or going to the games or whatever it may be. Being, I've been a Yankee before. I'm still a Yankee, in the Yankees organization.
Still a Yankee.
Technically, yeah, still a Yankee. But like just going there
contract with the Yankees,
and just the excitement of that, is very real. And so I think that part of it is the fun part. But at the end of the day, man, you got to play ball.
Yeah.
And the ball dictates everything.
That's a fact.
It's just, at the end of the day, despite how great things go, and Mel knows this better than anybody. It's like, no matter how great you are, how great things have been for you, no matter how tough it's been, no matter what's going on in your personal life, no matter what's going on, this and that, at the end of the day, man, the ball heals everything. Winning heals all wounds.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we're focused on, is just the winning process and just doing that, and just being successful and being focused on the process of winning. It's not just obviously the W at the end matters. We can't control that right now, but what we can control is how we go about our business and our focus, and bring in a championship mentality and work ethic daily. And that's the presence that I always want to bring.
Because that's major. Like how you set the tone. And again, I don't think a lot of people set the tone that way when they come to New York.
Mm.
You know what I mean? They just, like, they in the fire and they think that they control the fire. But when you set the tone of like, dude, we trying to win here. Like, at the end of the day, it's about winning.
Mm-hmm.
And if we come in here locked in and ready to win, all the things that people are saying against New York, the negativity against New York when things go bad, you don't have to deal with that. One thing New York respect, we talked about it, is just playing hard, just working, just showing up and doing your job. If you win, lose, or draw, as long as you show up, you'll have all the respect in the world from New York. But when you start putting these expectations out there and saying, hey, we guaranteeing shit and we, you know what I mean? It's like,
that's when it gets
you can't do that to New York. Yeah, because they're already on edge.
Yeah, so let me ask you this, Melo, and I guess you could kind of bounce that off. A lot of athletes with expectations that come to this city try to make it just ball or just what's on the court. But I think, do you think that's like not the right mentality to go into? Like, do you think like you have to be aware that yes, winning cures all, but like winning also brings all this extra stuff in New York City. It brings losing brings all this extra stuff in New York City. If you're not mentally prepared for that, it can go which way, you know what I'm saying? Like, you've been in there, you're about to experience it. Funny enough, we both came from Denver. You made a little pit stop, but you know, both went from Denver to New York City. The atmosphere of being here, do you need to embrace that and embrace everything that comes with it in addition to what happens on the court and the field to have success?
Yes, I think you have to, right? But it's a difference when you know, when it just happened naturally and organically. It's like, I'm in the city. I want to go to the store. I want to walk to the store. I'm going to walk to the store. If I go out and walk in the road, I'm going to walk in the road. This is my neighborhood. This is, you know what I mean? Somebody else could do it.
Yeah.
Why can't I do it? This is home for me, right? So when you start to embrace yourself into the actual community, you at parks, you at stores, you at grocery stores, you juice bars, no matter what it is, the more people feel like you embracing what they're doing, they're going to go extra for you, no matter what. So I do think when people come here and athletes come and they shy away from it. This man is walking in the city. He's walking in the streets. He's embracing it. He's looking up and embracing the bright lights and the challenges. I'm outside. I'm on the concrete. I'm walking around. I'm in every borough that's around here, right? And it formulates a community.
You in Staten Island?
We'll keep that quiet.
I'm allowed to say that. I'm from Staten Island. Okay, I'm allowed to say
Staten
that.
Island. I got good food over there. You know what I'm saying?
Great pizza.
Yes,
great Italian food.
really, really good food over there. But I think, and on the flip side of that, people put a lot on it about coming to New York. Like, it is what it is. If you're going out there playing football and doing your job and staying in your lane, you okay. Like, it's not that big of a deal to come to New York. I think we make it that big of a deal. You see what happens when you come in and you're successful. If you're winning, if you're just giving effort and playing and winning, you see the response that you get. Look at the Knicks right now. So if they just give something better than what they were last year, hope. You know what I mean? It's about hope at this point in time because they still got to put it together.
I think a big part of it for me is, like Mel said, is embracing it all, not running away from the attention, not running away from the noise, you know, understanding it's going to be there, good, bad, and different, you know, having a plan, having a process. Like, for me, my whole career, I've never turned on ESPN during the season, good or bad. It's always, most of the time, it's been good.
Smart man.
But like, to me, it's just, that's just been a habit during the season. I think, you know, you're able to also, I think, a big part of it for me is, you know, confidence. Why would I think anything else? Like, you know what I mean? Like, for me, confidence is just, I know that, you know, I can throw the ball with the best of them. You know what I mean? I know I've done it before. I've been in the stadium before. I know when the game's on the line, what I'm going to do. And you tell yourself that. And listen, I think, you know, anytime a great player, they all go through moments, tough moments, right? There's never a career that everything went perfect.
Right.
It was healthy every day. It was this every day. Everything in life went great. That's what makes them great, is their ability to overcome. And so for me, I think, you know, the opportunity and the challenge and overcoming is the part that I love, man. I don't fear adversity. I look forward to it. And I think a big part of it for me is exuding that to my teammates and letting them know. Because at the end of the day, when you walk in that huddle, man, you got to convince all the other 10 dudes that we're going to get this done. Like, there's no other option. Like, yeah, we're down by 6. We're going to go down the field and go win the game. That's what's going to happen. And at the end of the day, too, that confidence and that belief makes them believe it, the other team. And that's what you got to get to. And so for me, I think how you get there, though, it doesn't just happen. How you get there is, one, through experiences. You know, obviously I've had a lot of experiences of doing that, but I think the other part of it is that it's the connectivity and the work ethic every day, the obsession of it. And that's what frees you from the worry. Like, what frees me from concern or worry or fear or any of that is the preparation part of it. Like, to me, if I prepare at the highest level, I'm never nervous. I'm never worried about it. And, you know, sometimes the ball goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. But more times than not, it's going to go our way because of how we prepare. And I think that level of belief, that level of experience, but that level of obsession and that level of detail is where you get the separation part of it. And so that's where I think greatness comes. I think that's where, the tide shifts your way. And you're seeing that with the Knicks, as we talked about earlier, just obviously guys that have played together, have worked hard and everything else, but the ball is bouncing their way, and hopefully it keeps bouncing their way.
Russ, let's talk a little bit about last year, because you mentioned Mike Tomlin and you mentioned player for him, and obviously it was one season, but a black head coach that has held that position for that long, and you've got to experience him for a year. What was the experience like, playing for him? And in your opinion, why do you think somebody like Mike Tomlin has been able to be a steadying force for such a iconic franchise like the Steelers for as long as he has, especially when it feels like coaches in the NFL are just in a rotating room at this point?
I think there's three things about Mike Tomlin that's special. I think the first thing is his ability, his obsession. His work ethic. Yeah, he's there early at 4:30 in the morning watching the film himself. Like head coaches don't do that. Like he's in the little cave, like doing his own thing, watching himself, and he has his process and his plan. That's the first thing. I think the second thing is his ability to connect to players is remarkable. His ability to have connectivity, his ability to relate to the black kid, to the white kid, to the guy that's been successful, the guy that's just starting, to find that motivation and turn that up, and also be able to neutralize it and turn it down too when it's too high or whatever, just to be able to connect in the moment, in each moment throughout the game. And then I think ultimately, I think the thing that's like really unique about him, right, is talking about the ability to embrace, the noise, the ability to embrace the obstacles and all that. He stares it right in the face and he doesn't run from it. I think he does a good job of that, So those are things that make him unique. And obviously, he's one of the all-time great coaches. He's a guy that's, going to be in the Hall of Fame and everything because of what he's been able to do.
Speaking of the Steelers, one of your favorite targets last year, George Pickens, got traded to your new division rival, Dallas Cowboys. Love to get your thoughts on that, man. I know you're gonna be on opposite sides of the field, but what was it like playing with him, and what's it gonna be like? What did you think of that trade to Dallas?
Man, I love George, man. Just his ability to catch the football is, one of a kind, man.
Yeah.
Like this dude can, anything in his vicinity, he's gonna catch it. Hopefully he don't catch none of them against us. But I just, on a serious note, I think that, he's misunderstood outside. I think he's a guy that's, he wants to be great. I think also too, when it comes to George, I think the big part of him is, I think his ability where he can take it from not just being great, but to being the world's best. I think he has that in him, and so, I'm always rooting for guys I've played with, and all that, but just not when we play them. But yeah, he'll do great there, man. He'll love it there for sure.
So I'm assuming that goes for my Jets too and Justin Fields, right?
No, Justin is my guy, man. I've been able to connect with Justin since when he was at Ohio State, which is hard for me to say because I went to Wisconsin for that 6 months of the year. But I mean, I got to know him way back in the day. Always rooting for him, man, and his family I've gotten close to a little bit, and obviously sharing the same room too, man, just to be a mentor for him and to be able to connect. And it was funny because we were at the game the other day and somebody said, Justin's here. I was like, where's he at? He's like, so just to be able to see him at the game the other day and all that. So I'm always rooting for him, man. He's going to be a great player for sure, and he's a young stud.
We had a slew of wide receivers sit on that couch.
Yeah.
Right there. And the topic of the discussion is wide receivers are divas. Right? And they all sat there and said the same exact thing.
They all want the ball.
Yes, we are divas. Right?
They all want the ball.
Like, how do you, somebody who has to manage that? And I don't like to call it diva, but they call themselves divas, so they self-acclaim divas. But how do you manage that, knowing that you have somebody like Malik, who anytime you throw the ball, he's gonna get open. He's gonna do what he got to do. But how do you manage that? Because you can't throw it to Malik every single time, and then the divas should start to come in.
Yeah, man.
How do you really manage that? And it's another question after that. But how do you actually manage that?
I think the first thing is, man, I think the guys that are the best in the world, guys like obviously Malik, guys like DK, guys I've played with, Doug Baldwin and George Pickett's, Tyler Lockett's, all those guys, those type of players, man, you want them to get the ball as a quarterback. Like at the end of the day, like the more I get to feed Malik, the better we're gonna be because he gonna make plays. Like that one little hitch route, like I said earlier, he may catch that little 6-yard route, and all of a sudden it's ball's in the end zone, and just like that explosive play changed the game. So like to me, it's our job to make sure that we find guys and find them in their moments and find the key part of the game. At the end of the day, it's like anything in basketball, like give the ball to your best players. Let's not make this complicated, right? And so I think that's a big part of it, and obviously the style of the game, what's happening, what the coverage is, all that stuff matters in some form or fashion. But the ability to move guys around, put them in the right places, and all that's the job of all of us coaches and also us players, a quarterback, and it's like, how do we get him in the right position to be successful for us to win? And really, the reason why they want the ball is two things. Number one is because they want to win, and number two, because the money.
Yeah,
and that's always the case. But you know what? When a guy's making plays and scoring touchdowns, he produces. Yeah. Now, when a guy's like, I was wide open, there was 3 dudes over there. All right, well, we got to get the ball to somebody else, and then we'll come back to you. But that's just that. But that I always say, man, the great ones, man, every once in a while, it's just a him route, meaning throw it to him, right? Like there's no route to just give the ball to him, wherever he's at.
Get open,
put him in the position.
Get it to him. Get it in his hands.
Sure.
Russ, you talked about quarterback rooms, and I said this while we were off air. I said, man, Hard Knocks was like a season or two too early because I would have loved to hear or see the quarterback room with yourself, Jackson Dart, Jameis Winston. Yeah. Like those are 3 very distinct personalities in one room. Like
that was a sick.
You guys forgot Tommy DeVito.
Tommy DeVito. Like, I saw that picture of all 4 of y'all OTAs. I was like, yo, I would pay top dollar just to see what that room was like. I'd even pay top dollar just to see who gets to do the first pregame speech. Because between you and Jameis have some legendary pregame speeches. So it's like, who, I guess before anything sort of settled, like what's been the camaraderie, the chemistry like?
First of all,
who got the road speeches, who got the home speeches?
First of all, ain't nobody gonna talk like Jameis, man.
Jameis is a legend with those.
He is 100% go all day. Man, just talking. I mean, he's awesome, man. Great teammate. Just humble, works hard, passionate about the game, wants to do it the right way. Doesn't, just does it, just works his butt off every day, man. It's fun, man. And once again, another guy that I was around back in the day. My old mental coach, Trevor Moad, was a Florida State guy. Obviously, Jameis played there, all that. And I got to know Jameis back when he was up for the national championship, the Heisman, all that stuff. And I got to know him back then. So Jameis and I have been close. And then in 16, 17, 18, somewhere around there, I was at the Pro Bowl, and Jameis was down in Florida. He wanted to come meet, and he just wanted to connect on all things life, all things football, business, everything else. And so I spent like 3 hours together at the Pro Bowl at my house I had at the Pro Bowl. And so just, man, I've always had a love and appreciation for him, man. And just to see how God works through him and how he sees the game and how he, it's just fun, man. He's just some of the stuff I can't even tell y'all, man. He's just cracking me up.
I can imagine, man.
Nonstop, just cracking me up.
I can imagine. I don't even think we need to go to church if I just hear you and Jameis talk before the game and just the way y'all give it up to God every time, man. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's cool, man. But just, it's just funny. But man, Jameis is, like I said, he's just a great teammate. And then, I think, we just, it's been fun, man. Just us working. Trying to be our best every day. Obviously Tommy DeVito, guy who's Italian stallion out here.
Oh yeah, he's already a local legend out
he's
here.
He's running every restaurant. Knows I think every girl in the city likes him. You know what I mean? But Tommy's great, man. He's funny. Yeah. Just great teammate. And then Jackson just getting to know, but he's young. He's gonna be a young stud, man. Just how he works and just how he wants to go about his business. So we're having fun, man. But yeah, there's no speeches like James's speeches.
It's going to be incredible. Russ, man, for a while, you were one of only 2 black quarterbacks in the NFL history to win a Super Bowl. But since then, we've seen Patrick Mahomes do it. We've seen Jalen Hurts do it this past season. You've talked about knocking that door down. We saw the documentary on Amazon as well with you in it. How important was it for you to break the narratives surrounding quarterback position as a black man. It felt like for a long time there was always just these really archaic thoughts on black men being able to compute being a quarterback, and you've obviously broken a lot of those narratives and those stereotypes. How important is that to you?
Yeah, man, I think it's a huge part to my career. I don't know if I broke it down. I don't know if it was.
Well, part of it.
It was guys before me that helped set up the opportunity for me. You know, I think guys like Randall Cunningham, guys like Dante Culpepper, Steve McNair, just players like that. You know,
Doug
Warren
Williams.
Moon, and just many others. Michael Vick. When I was growing up, Michael Vick, man, he was the coolest, baddest thing on the planet.
Still is.
Just like, you know what I mean? Like a guy from Virginia, you know, just so, you know, but in terms of how they played the game and just how they open up doors, I do think there was definite realness, though, what you're saying about kind of, you know, obviously when you see Doug win the Super Bowl back in the day, and then there was like a, I don't know, 30-year gap or however long the gap was or whatever it is. And, you know, there's a few things that I had to overcome, I felt like, coming in the league. Number one, there weren't many black quarterbacks at the time, right? I think Michael Vick was playing, or maybe just stopped playing for a second. And then, but it was, I think, Cam Newton, Robert Griffin came in my same year, Colin Kaepernick, and then Tyrod Taylor was playing. And so those are the kind of main guys playing at the time. And it was like Cam came in, was rookie of the year, the year before I came out, and then here come me and RG3, and it was just like, okay, like this is something new. And RG3, I think, was the second pick overall.
Yep.
I was a third round pick, 75th pick overall. We played each other in the playoff game. We ended up winning and everything else. And I think that's the game RG3 got hurt, but his ability to come back and overcome that was remarkable. And he did everything he can the rest of his career. But for me, like, I remember going into that rookie year as a third round pick, 75th pick. Tavares Jackson was a quarterback ahead of me, and Matt Flynn. And T-Jack, man, I loved him as a teammate, and rest in peace to him too. But what was crazy about it all is that, like, I felt like I had to do everything every day, you know, and I knew that I could do it. Like, but the problem that I was facing was, you know, Cam Newton was 6'5", you know, 250 pounds and this and that, could run over people and jump over people, you know, Superman himself.
Superman.
But for me, I was a 5'11" quarterback that said, hey, first of all, there wasn't many shorter quarterbacks in the NFL anyway. It was Drew Brees at 6 foot.
You and Drew Brees.
And then I was the shortest quarterback in the NFL for a while. And so beating that stigmatism was one thing. And then the second part is that, because everybody said, oh, he can't see over the line. Well, I said, if I'm 6'2", I ain't seeing over these big boys, man. He's seeing through lanes. But the other part that I had to face was that, you know what, like, there was a real thing about, you know, are black quarterbacks smart enough? Are they this? Are they that? So to me, I wanted to be able to open that mindset up that, hey, you know what, I can be short and I can be athletic and I can do this and I can throw the ball deep and I can run around, spin around, and, you know, he's not just a scrambling quarterback and this and that, but you can do all these other things. And I think that winning that Super Bowl, first of all, playing my rookie year, playing well, and then going in the second year, but I was around really great teammates. I was around guys that worked hard and just had edge and wanted to be great just as much. And Pete Carroll gave me that chance, man, and it was a blessing to do that. So I think that doors have opened up tremendously. You know, I remember being in a conversation with Kyler Murray, talking to him on the phone about, should I play football, should I play baseball, this and that. And I just kind of gave him my perspective of why football first, because you can always go back to baseball, but you got to give this football thing a chance because you're short, you're black, you're young. Like, you got to give it a chance now. And sure enough, he took off, and he could have done both. He could have done either one. You know, It's like he could have been great at either one of them. And so just, man, I think it's my obligation, though, to be a mentor, not just to all quarterbacks, but especially the black quarterbacks that are trying to make it. Whatever I can do, you know, to inspire guys, to give guys belief, to give, you know, whatever questions, you know, life questions, business questions, football questions, whatever it is. I feel like, man, others did it for me. You know, I got to do it for them and do it 100 times, you know, fold. You know, so there's more that, you know, I want to accomplish, obviously, in this game. You know, I'm trying to win another Super Bowl or two, you know. So for me, you know, I'm so hyper focused on that. But as I'm doing that, you know, how can I be a mentor to the guys around me, and even guys like Jameis, like I said earlier, you know, just a guy that I was able to mentor back in the day, and be able to do that together every day. is pretty cool now.
For sure.
What is that consistent message? Like, we have conversations with younger players, right? Who's always maybe too afraid to come ask you for some help. Maybe ego's too big, whatever it may be. What is that one consistent message that you always tell a younger player, younger football player, or younger quarterback?
Yeah, I think that first of all, there's no magic pill to it. You got to do the work. I think that, you know, a lot of people think that, oh, well, you know, this or that. Like, anybody knows me, I'm gonna do the work. Like, I'm gonna be obsessed with it. I'm gonna do everything I can to get it right, to make it as perfect as it can be, and just love that part of it. And so, listen, you can throw the ball 100 yards, you can do this and that, but at the end of the day, the work is the first thing that the guys respect and honor, you know, and the game honors and all that. So you have to do that part first. I think the other part to it is just have a plan, man. Have a plan, have a rhythm every day of what your day is going to look like, what your rehab plan is going to look like, what's the morning. Like, literally every hour of my day is planned out, all the way up to about 7, 8 o'clock. But like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, but like, it's like literally like my thought process, my prehab work in the mornings when I wake up. I wake up every morning at 4:30. I get in treatment. Me and my PT, he's working on me by 4:45, 5 a.m. And well, he's working on me. He's from Spain. He's a great dude, but just he's working on me early in the morning for 30, 45 minutes. And I go to work. I'm there by 5:45, 6 o'clock every morning. Have my routine there. You know, from there I go. I may do my movement stuff or get on the bike or whatever it may be. Then I, hot tub, cold tub, then get in treatment. Then in the training room, then I go to my meetings with my quarterback coach, do that for 30 minutes to an hour. Then you do your team meetings and you're doing all that, all the team stuff, do practice and everything else. And then after that, you're doing your own time film and your process and then you get home,
family,
more film, and for a little bit, rewatch practice, and then it's time to be dad again. And that part of making sure that I try to do that really well. So to me, a big part of like being successful in basketball, football, baseball, whatever it is we're doing, or anything in life, is what is your plan? Like what's your story look like every day, and how are you going to put that together? And then I think from there is like I believe that we can do everything really, really well. We may not be able to do everything great, but like I had a conversation speaking to my old mental coach, Trevor. It was funny because we were talking about love one day. And this is so funny because he's no longer living. But he said, man, I remember him being in my kitchen. He said, man, I feel like, you like, he wanted to put a grade on everything. He's like, yeah, I feel like you do this as an A. I feel like you love really well. He was talking about himself. He was like, I mean, I feel like I can't do romance. I can't love really well. I said, well, what's your grade? He said, because he always grades me. And he said, I feel like my grade's like a C, he said, talking about himself. And I said, well, all we got to do is make a C a B. Like, we're not always trying to go from C to A. You know what I'm saying? Like, what can I get better at just incrementally throughout the day, throughout my weeks, throughout my month, throughout my year? And all of a sudden you look back and you got better. And so I think all those things like are really critical to your process and your planning and, trying to be a dad really well. I think that you do such a great job of being a father, watching Cayenne and watching him ball, man, and just seeing that. But I remember rewinding back to the days when I first got to know you, just watching Cayenne and you spend time in that time under tension, doing that with him, has made Cayenne, obviously he's got it genetically, but at the end of the day, just because we got the genetics, we got to put the work in. And so that part of it and is really critical to being a great dad. The part of it to life, to marriage, to everything else, but also to the game. Like, there's no substitute for the work, and you got to love that part.
That's a fact. The conference finals are in full effect, so we had to get right with FanDuel. FanDuel is the best place to find all your favorite player props, and now you can make the smarter play with the new performance trends. Want to see if a guy's hitting that over consistently, or maybe they've been flirting with a potential triple-double? Get the latest stats right inside the app and see who's heating up. And once the game starts, that's when things get interesting. You can combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. If you don't already have FanDuel, it's not too late to get in on the action. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So just visit FanDuel.com/7 p.m. to join today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. We're taking a quick break, to put you on to McDonald's all new crispy chicken strips.
New McCrispy strips are here. It's chicken made for dipping. Tender, juicy white meat chicken with a golden brown peppery breading.
It's chicken so good it deserves its own sauce. The creamy chili McCrispy strip dip, a sauce that's creamy, savory, and sweet with a little heat.
But it works with any of the sauces, right? Melo, you got some go-to sauces from McDonald's?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with barbecue. I'm gonna go with barbecue sauce.
Hell yeah. Love the barbecue, sweet and sour, honey mustard.
That is a fact.
Yeah.
So with that being said, head over to McDonald's and go grab the new McCrispy strips with a new creamy chili McCrispy strip dip. It's chicken made for dipping only at McDonald's. Have you ever had your people send you some funds, but it takes days to process? Those days are over thanks to Cash App. Cash App is a safe, easy, and fast way to send and receive and transfer money to family and friends.
It's super easy to get started. Just enter your phone or email with some other basic info, and you're ready to go. You don't even have to include your bank account.
Cash App is secure and safe. If you're about to send money to a sketchy account, a scam warning will pop up. So you can rest easy knowing Cash App has your back.
You're going out for lunch with some friends, and you want to split the bill? No need to throw 3 cards on the table. Just send the money through Cash App. I personally love using it because it's so easy and it just makes life way less stressful.
I gotta ask though, like, what's the least amount of money you've ever requested someone to pay you back on Cash App?
I definitely asked somebody to Cash App me $3 for, a drink.
That's petty.
I'm petty. I want my
drinks
money.
is crazy. $3 drinks is
Give me my
crazy.
bread.
I'm staying away from that chat. So for a limited time only, new Cash App users can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash. For real, there's no catch. Just download Cash App and sign up. Use our exclusive referral code 7PM in BK and your profile. Send $5 to a friend within 14 days and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App.
What would you say for you, Mel, was the reason why you were able to play 19?
My mindset, the fact that I started really putting more into my body, putting more into my, like you say, your everyday plan. And it's like, nothing can get done unless this gets done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't give a fuck what meeting, business, nothing. I have to get my treatment.
1,000%.
I have to work out. I have to go to the gym. I got to get my shots. And I think I was always in love with the process. But as I got older, I fell more in love with the process.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like I fell in love with being in the weight room and like after practice and before practice and being in the lounge. And like I got, like you said, wiser as I got older. So I felt my pockets of what works for me. So I realized I wasn't trying to do what I was doing before. Yeah. And it was about showing up every day, having my mental right, most importantly. And to his point when he said he didn't watch ESPN, I didn't watch none of that stuff.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the big part, I agree with you, man. I think the big part that goes underestimated is the mental part of it.
Yeah.
Like the guys that I've known that like retire or, or done playing or whatever, it's the biggest weight on them is the mental side of it.
Yeah.
Like, do they love it, number one, anymore? Did they ever really love it?
Was it something we just did just because.
And then two, did they have a plan? Like I was fortunate to be around I remember a guy, Leon Washington, told me this, a teammate of mine. I just got named starter for Pete Carroll. He said, man, how many treatments do you get a week? I said, what do you mean? Like, how many massages, treatments do you get a week? I said, oh, like 1. And he was like, I'm gonna need you to get 3. I said, 3? I said, what do you mean 3? Like, he's like, how much do the treatments cost? I got about $100. He said, okay, how much is that a week? I said, well, 300. He said, okay, well, we're gonna play. Let's say 10 times that by 10 weeks. So like, how much is that? I'm like, $3,000. He said, okay, cool. Okay, now we're gonna play 20 weeks to win the Super Bowl. How much is that? I said $6,000 roughly. He was like, yeah, that's $6,000. He said, for me, it's going to turn to $6 million. That $6,000 for you is going to turn to $60 million. I'm going to need you to get them. I said, I'm going to get them treatments. I got it. So I think a big part of it is just like you said, like having the plan, but then falling in love with the process. Yeah. I love the process of getting up early. I've been wired that way. I'm sick mentally that way. I don't sleep much. But like my mind is always around football and that process of it. And then that allows me, once I do that, and do my process of rehab and treatment and get treatment 2-3 times a day. Like I call it prehab work. I don't call it rehab work. It's prehab work. I'm constantly doing that.
Yep.
But once I do that, now I feel full. Now I can love better. I can treat my kids better. I can do this. Now I can do the business call. But that's why you got the team and people to help you, so they can do that. And it's like everybody's asked, like, how do you do all this? Like, I'm really not doing that much. I'm really just treatment, football, this and that. And then, I may go see the Knicks.
I have a plan.
I got stuff to do. Like, I got a whole team, and so like a big part of that for me is just knowing what's really important, the priorities of that, and how you handle that.
Yeah,
you both have done an incredible job of not just being great on the field, but like bouncing family life, parent life off the field as well. Like you guys both have, different situations, but like your situations are almost looking like, man, if I can handle my joint like this, if I can handle my situation like that, they always kind of look at y'all as like sort of like the benchmarks of that. Yourself with Ciara and the kids and family, obviously yourself, Cayenne, the ways y'all raise them. But what's different between us is that you guys do it in the public eye. Like you do it with everybody sort of watching you two. So I'd just love to know from both of your perspectives, more than just balancing it, but balancing it in the public eye. How do you sort of like, make that happen on when it seems like almost 2 decades for both of you guys being known?
From my standpoint, it's any athlete, the number one issue an athlete have is with family. It may be financial reasons that you have issues, but you're going to have issues with family if you don't be intentional of the time that you spend with the family, right? Because to his point, and football is worse than basketball. They are all day. He's 5:30 to 6, 7, 8 at night.
Yeah.
Right? And you got to find these pockets and these windows to really be present, right? So for me, it was always, when I step in these doors, basketball is out the window. Like, I don't want to hear about basketball. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to. Once I get my film out, and maybe he gonna watch the film with me too. Like that's our bonding. You know what I mean? And I'm sure now he didn't realize that, but like you was getting the knowledge at 2 years old. Like, you was getting real intense knowledge and energy from the game. Yeah. And you don't even know that. But that I was intentional about when I got in that door. Nah, I'm home now, and I don't want to hear nothing else. Yeah. I don't have time to hear anything else, because by the time I get home from practice, 5, 6 o'clock, whatever, I got dinner, I got treatment, I got film. It may be a game on, the team may be playing that we got to watch, and I got to spend time with the kids.
Yeah.
So it's like it's very difficult, but you got to find your pockets, and you got to make it work. And the ones who don't make it work, that's when it go back. You know what I mean? And that's when the issues arise. But when it comes to being a father, you have to be there. You have to be present. And, we see that every single day. We see how the kids are. You see how your kids are. You see how once we put our paws on them, they continue to thrive. And we give them confidence based off of what we done been through. Now they can stand up straight and they can be tall and head high and be proud of what he went through, whatever I went through, win, lose, or draw. Like, we come home, we fathers.
Yeah.
And that's what kept me kind of on track, because I can come home from anything and I get there and it's daddy. And that changes the mood on everything. Fuck a win, fuck a loss, fuck all of the above. Once you hear those words, once you come through the door, it changes everything. And that's my perspective.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think the best part of it all is, like you said, when you come home after a huge win or a tough loss, and your kids, like, it's almost like they have no idea.
Yeah.
Like, they know, but they have no idea what all they care about is your TLC.
Yeah.
Right? Like that time, that attention, that care, and that amount of, like, I don't know, the pureness of that is what makes doing this great. Like, and that's like the fun part about having kids while you're playing. Like, as you mentioned earlier, you're watching film with your kid. I watch film with Future. Like, Sienna, my little daughter, she wants, Dad, well, let's watch the game. Like, she want to watch the game. Like, she like,
nice.
She's, if anybody knows Cece, like, she want to be president. She want to run the show. Like, she want to run the team. I don't know. And then, it's like watching, like, Future play baseball. He wanted to go. He played in the Yankees Little League game. They won the championship. Then he wanted to fly out to go to actually see the real Yankees play. And just like being around Aaron Judge. Like he gets to see that. That's the cool part about playing right now. And then I think, you know, like my son Win, like I don't know if he's gonna be shortstop for the Yankees, quarterback for the Giants, or if he'll be Floyd Mayweather, boxer. I don't know what he's gonna be, but he's gonna be something. And so like all that to say that like you're right, like we do live in the public eye, we do live in that. But once again, it's like you asked earlier about what's it like being in New York City, but the ability to embrace it, not run from it. And I think, you know, listen, I think that when you understand that the pressure is on us, but man, pressure is a privilege. Man, what an opportunity to show, you know, the next generation how to do it, or how to overcome stuff. You know, like at the end of the day, we're all going to face obstacles. We're all going to face adversity in life, and how we overcome them is the most important thing. And that's what I want to be able to teach my kids. You know, it's like I remember, you know, it was so funny. I was in this side note. I was in this Soul Cycle class once with Ciara. And I'm not sure if you know Angela. You know Angela. So she's this Soul Cycle girl in LA. She's amazing, and she is motivator, great motivator. And we're in the class. Ciara's in class. I just got done from a 5:30 a.m. workout. I come home just done throwing and lifting and everything. It's about 8:30 in the morning in LA. And C's like, hey, let's go to Soul Club. I'm like, Soul Club? I just got done. I'm not trying to go. She's like, come on, just come with me. So I end up going to class. The room's dark, everything else. I'm like in the back. And I'm like, I really don't want to be on this class. And the funny thing is, like, Tyler Perry's sitting to my right. We're in LA, right? So Tyler Perry's on my right. Ciara's on my left. And I'm like, these people can't. These aren't athletes. I'm thinking to myself, like, they ain't, you know, like, I just got talking
even off for 3 hours.
Workout, you know, I'm doing this. Like, and I'm like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, you know, and she's trying to motivate me.
Tyler Perry smoked your boots.
You know, and she's talking, and she said something that was really profound to me that's always forever stuck with me. And I wasn't connecting to the music. I wasn't connecting to her at the time. I was like, really had my hood on. I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna get done with this hour. I'm gonna be out of here. Make C happy, you know, all this stuff. And she said something about the kids. She said, you know what's the problem with everybody who's in this room? She said, it's because y'all are successful. I said, the problem? I'm thinking in my head, the problem? That's a good thing, right? She said, no. It's because y'all are successful and you're not willing to take the risk anymore. I was like, And that hit me different. But then so I started pedaling faster. You know, I'm like, I'm going now. And then she said something, and she waited for like another 30 seconds or so. But you know what the real problem is, she said? So the real problem is, because you're not willing to take the risk, your kids aren't going to be willing to take the risk.
You probably started pedaling fast as hell.
I took that word. I was up riding that bike. I was woo. And I was like, man, that forever stuck with me because my parents were willing to take the risk. Did they have everything perfect? Absolutely not. Did they have challenges? Absolutely. Just like every marriage, every situation, everything. Did they have highs, lows? Like all that, yeah, right?
Right.
But man, they did anything and everything to make sure that we were successful.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's the great thing about love. That's the great thing about being a father. I think that's the great thing about parenthood, is the ability to ride the storm, the ability to keep going, the ability to take risk when everybody else is saying,
no,
you know, this or that, you know, and not believing in it. And I think that's really important about being successful. And the hardest part is, when you've made it to a certain level, it's like, man, I'm cool. Like most people, most people kind of start chilling and like, no, I'm not really worried about this. And that's where the love of the game, that's where the love for the moments that kind of starts dissipating. And for me, like, man, I just want to turn that up every day. I want to be there every day, not just for ball and this and that, but for my family, for my kids, and whatever that may be. And I think that's the honor that we have. That's when I say pressure over privilege. Yeah, it's pressure, but it's an honor, man. It's what an opportunity it is to be able to do that and give back.
Before we move on, think about what we say as kids. I want to be like my dad.
Yeah.
Right? So if you have a chance, if you understand that, then you're going to be that.
Yeah.
You're going to present that to him every single day. Because that's all we knew growing up.
It's your first superhero, man.
That's my first superhero. I want to be like my dad. So we looked at everything our dad actually did. The way they wake up in the morning, when they yell, when they happy, when they smile, when they frown, when they tired. You know what I mean? Like, we looked at all of that, and we learned that without us even knowing that. We was gaining that information and that knowledge. So when it's time for them to look in the mirror and say, can I be this? Am I that? Am I on my way to being that? Or am I on my way to being better than that? It's a self-check that you got to look in the mirror. And you want to say, damn, I want to be like my dad. So you're going to go through the process and you're going to see it. We may not see it as kids, but when you get older, you look back and your son and your kids be like, you know what, Dad? Like, I remember back in the day, man, you were so strong, man. Like that's their way of giving you your flowers, right? And I think for me, that's what I look forward to. I don't want you to tell me right now, like, let's sit down and have a glass of wine later and you tell me how you truly feel, you know what I mean? And then I can judge and see if I did the right thing based off of what me and you have that conversation on. So with that being said, we have a special segment on this show called the 7 p.m. moment. It refers to the point of your life, be it personal or professional, where you're at a fork in the road, where we're going this way or that way will set you down a very, very specific path. So you have to be locked in about what you're going to do, what you decide to do. Like what was that 7 p.m. moment for yourself? I've had a few of them. I think I've had a few of them. I'll go with professional first. I think, being rookie of the year, when going to the Super Bowl the second year, winning the Super Bowl, third year, season going great, and then boom, it's like the whole world's against you. Yeah. And I remember, us not winning that Super Bowl. And the thing was, we were up in that game. It was like, okay, we're gonna win this game. And then all of a sudden they came back in the fourth and it was like, shoot, like. And then the last drive, I remember going out there, it was 2:01 on the clock. I'm like, man, we're gonna win this thing. Like, we're gonna win it. Like, let's go. Like, built for this. And play after play, boom, 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 get the ball to Marshawn the first play, a little double move, hit him down the field. We had another big play, hit another one, and then Jermaine makes that catch and then get the ball to one, and then the play doesn't work. And, it's like, okay, being in my third year, early in my career, it's like, all right, that could have really, if I wasn't prepared, I wasn't emotionally aware enough, that could have really effed me up, to be honest with you. Yeah. Mentally, emotionally, career-wise, because the whole world's watching. And I remember all the noise around it, this and that, and it was just like, man, like, and I hate losing. Like, everyone knows me, I hate losing. I do not like losing. And so, for me, that was like a tough moment. But what was good out of it, coming out of it is that I remember waking up early the next morning, and I remember my mental coach Trevor hit me up and he said to me, sent me a text, and he said, this is going to be hard for a while, but it doesn't mean it's forever. Doesn't mean it's going to be hard forever. And I'm like, and so then I texted him back. I said, I agree, or whatever. And he hit me back. He said, you ready? I said, I'm ready. And so we created a whole plan on me going down to San Diego, getting away, just being locked in, zoned in, quiet space, for a little while and everything else, and just focusing on training twice a day, doing this and that. And just kind of, I remember Trevor's like, where are we going to live? He was like, man, I'm going to have you move in a Del Mar country club, like an older like country club, like nobody there. There's nobody around, like really quiet. Like,
man, got no iPhones in there.
No, just like, it was just like, I was like, well, okay, all right, whatever. Yeah. And I just remember like being so locked in that moment. And I think part of it was, and maybe this is the gift that God's given me. Maybe it's just the things I've been through in life, seeing my dad pass away, the obstacles I had to do, all that stuff too. And, just being through some stuff. I think it gave me great perspective on knowing that, sometimes life is not going to always go your way. Like losing my dad did not go my way. What I wanted, my dad's leg getting amputated, like basically like the first week of school when I get to college, like that did not go my way and definitely didn't go his, and so I'm like, okay, how do I adjust? And I think the thing for me is the ability to be consistent, but the ability to consistently adjust and the ability to not block things off where you're not emotional or anything like that, but just to be able to be in the moment, say it is what it is. Here's the truth. Here's what happened. And then here's how to overcome it.
and just being very tactical about it in that approach, being very neutral in my mindset in that approach, and not saying this is, because like a lot of people mentally are saying, oh, this is the end of my career, oh well, woe was me, and this and that, and I just remember starting the 2015 season. The season didn't start off the way we wanted. It was like everything was going against us, and everything was going against me, and all this and all the noise and this and that. And then all of a sudden, I remember getting treatment, and it was that year, 2015. It was right before I actually played the Steelers. I remember sitting, and I remember all the noise, and I just said, you know what, God, I remember just praying about it. I remember saying, God, like basically saying to me, and I remember saying back to God, like in a way, was like, God, you chose me for this. You chose me for this. You didn't choose them. And so from then on, I was like, you know what? Whatever anybody else says, no, my God, you put me right here for this. And anybody else, if they don't have the ball in their hand, they ain't done it before, they don't.
Fuck it.
Exactly.
I'll say it.
You said it for it. I was thinking. But like, so to me, it was like, you gotta be thick-skinned in this game. You gotta be able to adjust, but also in life. You know, right. I think that, I think the thing personally, I think just, I was always perfectionist. I think you're always hoping that everything goes great, and, I was in a relationship before, and I was young, I was in that, and, and everything else. And then, all of a sudden I'm single, and I'm like, man, I'm like, all right, here we go. I'm single for a while. I had a whole plan, Melo. I'm gonna be single for like 10 years. C came and just changed everything. Yeah. She done changed everything, like a year into it. And I just remember, being before I met C, like, God, what do I really want?
Yeah.
Like, what do I remember 3 days before I met C, I remember being in my being at church with my Pastor Judah, and I was talking to him, and he said something in a sermon. He said non-negotiables, and it had nothing to do with relationships. He was just talking about non-negotiables. He said the word non-negotiables, and I remember going to dinner with him afterwards, and I said, Judah, you said something in your sermon. And I was like, it hit me, and he was like, what's that? You said non-negotiables, and he said, yeah. I said, but I feel like marriage, life, everything else, like when you're trying to be with somebody, like I feel like marriage is like you got to have non-negotiables. It's like a business. It's like a business deal. Not to be cold, but it's like, we're going to be partners for life. Like, we're going to do this. Like, you got to have your non-negotiables. He said, okay, I like that. I said, I feel like in every business deal, you got to have your non-negotiables. I said, let's write down 5 non-negotiables. I remember saying this at the steakhouse. And I said, let's get a napkin. I got the little napkin. I said, I'm going to write my 5 non-negotiables down. He said, okay, what are they? And he said, why 5? I said, 5 is the number of grace. It means grace in the Bible. Right? In marriage, life, you got to have grace for one another. So I'm going to write 5 of them. The first one was this. The first one was, I want a woman that of great faith. She's got like just great faith. She's a believer. That was important to me because believing in Jesus, all that meant a lot to me. That's number one thing. Number 2 was I want a woman who is faithful, not just to me, but to everything that she does, like to anything and everything that she does. The third thing is I want a woman that was going to love me the way my mom loved my dad, right? Like just how my mom, when my dad was on his deathbed, just like she was willing to do anything and everything for us and for him. And I think that like you want a woman that's got grit, that's going to be there when it's thick, when it's tough, when it's hard,
right.
and things aren't going well, whatever it may be in life, when my dad has leg amputated or whatever it may be. I think the other thing was I wanted a woman who was independent. Didn't have to be Ciara, but like had the right identity, wanted to, volunteer, wanted to be a doctor, wanted to be whatever it is. But at the end of the day, like had their own identity, didn't want to just be Russell's wife, but just like had their own identity of what they wanted to be and create and do in life. And I think the last thing was that I wanted a woman who would tilt the room. Like when they walk in the room, all the furniture slides her way. You know what I mean? Like everything slides her way.
That's a cold bar right there. That's a cold bar. I ain't gonna hold you.
And so for me, like I just remember that. I wrote that down. We prayed over it. And 3 days later, I met C.
That's crazy.
And
that's beautiful.
And that was 6 things. So the 6th thing.
That was 5.
He said the last 2 was 1. 2 for 1.
You sipping on that tea over there. But like, but for me, like those are the 2 pivotal moments in my life. And just having children has been like, man, it's been so cool. Just, it really shows you what love is, just to be able to love kids and just do that.
Facts. I feel like we could do a whole hour just on that 7 p.m. moment right there,
right.
man. Because it's like
A lot of gems in that.
you know that moment. We'll talk about family and stuff again in a bit, but that moment in the Super Bowl with that interception, like you said it, that could have crumbled a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like a mistake that big, you know, would crush a lot of folks. How long did you like at least allow yourself to mourn that? Because quarterback's supposed to have short memories. You got another play the next day, but the next snap, but you didn't have another play. You know what I mean? And you still had to like let yourself feel this thing out before you can get back on the horse. Like how long did you at least allow yourself to mourn that play?
Yeah, I ain't sleep that night. I ain't sleep that night.
You already don't get a lot of sleep.
He was back on the field the next day.
I ain't sleep that night, but I just you know what's the hardest part is that you feel like you let your team down, you hold everyone down, you know, and that's just the part that I hate. You know, I do anything to win, you know, help the team, you know, whatever. So the play didn't go our way, you know. And so I think part of it was being in my third year, being so young, was like, man, like, all right, I got a lot more to live. I got a lot more to go.
Yep.
Like, and I've never been, through hard times, I've never been the one to put my head down, right? Like, if you're going to be the leader, if you're going to be a guy, if you're going to be a man, you got to face challenges and keep your head up. And sometimes, you know what? I may go in my private room, my head may be down for a little bit. When I walk out that room,
Back up.
gotta go. My head, my chin gotta be up. Like I'm not the one to drop my head. I'm not the one to stay there. I just can't, because I've seen too much, and God's given me too much, and He's blessed us too much, and to have life, to have breath, to know my dad was on his deathbed, to know my mom was doing what she was doing to keep my, like, man, I get to play a game for football, like the game I love. Like, I can't, but there's people out on the street that are struggling, trying to make the next paycheck or do this or do that or whatever and feed their kids. Like, man, like, okay, they made a play. I got to keep my head up. And so what I seek in life is, yes, winning and Super Bowls and all that. But at the end of the day, man, like, for me is I want to seek purpose and meaning and more than that, and joy. And man, when people see me, I want them to see a light. Like, I want them to see, like, you know what? He went through some stuff. And for some reason, they couldn't get him. You know what I mean? Like, for some reason, they can't get me.
Would you say resilience is your best trait as a quarterback?
Best trait?
Or just in life?
I think the deep ball the best. Boom ball the best.
The deep ball's pretty damn good.
Boom ball the best trait. Boom ball.
Deep ball's pretty damn
We'll go
good.
to boom ball, then we'll say the rest. But no, I think good 1-2 punch. I think I don't blink in the face of adversity, and you know, I just I'm not the type to. I'm not one of those dudes that's just gonna be, you know, lip out, upset, down, moody. Like, when you see me, you're gonna see a upbeat, positive, a guy who believes. But I'm gonna be neutral in the midst of it, highs, lows. On the sideline, I'm gonna be speaking life. You either love it or you don't. But you know what? I'm gonna be me every day. You're not gonna make me change. Like, you know what? Because God created me to do it. He created me, gave me the opportunity to do it. And He put me in the role for a reason. And only so many people are called for it. You know what I'm saying? And so when you think about it, like, you got to understand there's 8 billion people in the world. For some reason, God chose me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, God chose me. Like, God chose Melo to be one of the greatest shooters of all time. Like, there's no questions asked about it.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, so why second guess yourself? Right? Like, God put it inside you to do what we get to do. And so I think a big part of it is that, like, I respect everybody's, thoughts and opinions and all that. But at the end of the day, like, He chose me for it. And so I just think big part of it is just knowing who you are, not wavering, being consistent. If you're going to be a guy who's upbeat, be upbeat. If you're going to be a guy who's always kind of a jerk or whatever it may be that. If you're going to be, but like, just be consistent so people know what they're going to get. And so, I didn't say be perfect, just said be consistent. And I've learned that, like, okay, there's tough stuff. We all go through it, and understanding that.
Perseverance through faith.
Come on, man. Like that's a quarterback right there. Line me up. I'll block for you any day, Russ. I'll block for you any day. Whatever you need, champ.
Yeah, blitz the shit out you over there.
For sure.
Thanks. Oh man. Let's I want to tap one more thing before we tap into the F out of here. You talked about your non-negotiables with your life partner, with your wife Ciara. And you know, obviously y'all relationship is goals to people, and you know, y'all relationship obviously is something that you wear so proudly everywhere you go. And you know, we could always talk about everything that she means to you, but you know, how do you show up for her every day? I feel like people just see, you know, the quote unquote football wife, and it's like all the things she has to be for you. On the flip, you already talked about how much you've had to sacrifice as far as time and preparation and being present, all that type of stuff. How do you show up for her? How was that work on the flip side, especially knowing how independent she is? How, you know, she was Ciara before you met her. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like,
man, you know, first of all, I think Ciara's greatness is one of a kind. There's really no one like her. You know, obviously there's, you know, Beyonce, Rihanna, special people, you know, and you know, I think she's got the heart of gold, man. She has a unique ability to impact a room. Like I said, you know, being a light in the room. Like, I thought I was good with people. Like, I thought I was like, I'm pretty damn good with people. You know what I mean? She is amazing. Like, how she walks in a room and how she brings joy and peace and love to every situation. She never blinks. Like, she, you know, people may have said something wrong about her, done something wrong. She just walks with grace, walks with love. Like, I just think how she handles things is pure. She's the purest person I know. And so I think the best part about it too, though, is that like how I try to be there for her, which really she's her own boss, she's her own CEO, own leader and everything else. But man, we just get to do a lot of things together, business, life, being a partner. You know, like she's super busy. She's in Cannes right now, France right now. Like she's busy going back and forth and this and that. Like, what can I do for the kids? What can I do here? What can I do? What responsibilities can I take? And then like for me, like I'm more of like, we have a good like dynamic because like she's like really tender with the kids. I am too, but I'm like, when I say no, it's no. When I say yes, it's yes. Like there's no, we ain't doing it. She'll call me like,
the buck
hey,
stops
babe.
with you.
Yeah.
Non-negotiable.
She'll call me like, babe, I need you to talk to Win. I'm like, I got it. Yeah, you know, but part of it though is that like what I want to always be for her is just a safe place to talk to, a safe place to be. You know, I think, you know, I always want her to know the best place in the world is in my arms. You know what I mean? And so I think a big part of that is just always just trying to do love really well. I think part of like the love dynamic and everything else is like, there's two things I believe, right? Like number one is like, I think the first thing is you got to keep competing. You know, when you first meet somebody, you're willing to compete every day. Like, oh, I'm gonna get the girl.
The honeymoon phase.
Yeah. But like you're willing to do the flowers, this, to that. You're gonna keep competing, right? But like you want to just make sure you're at your best, you know, for them daily. The eye contact, the ability to sit at dinner and be like, I'm put my phone down. Just when we're here on date night, like we have a date night, we have a plan, like, right? So like, hey, every Friday we're gonna do date night, right? So like we're planning on that. Like, okay, if she's busy because she's so busy traveling the world or whatever, it's like, okay, let's make that Friday a Monday, right? Let's move it and shift it. And I think that dialogue and communication is really important to me to keep competing in terms of communication and planning. I think the second piece to it though is, and this is a fundamental thing I really believe, is that the act of continual surprise.
Yeah.
Like the small things, right? Like I think to be able to surprise her with flowers here, or to write a note to her, or to show up on set when she's thinking, there's no way he's going to be able to get here in time, you know, and there's no way he's not going to be able to do it. But like, you know, I may have shifted my morning to do treatment earlier so I can know I don't have to do it in the afternoon or whatever it may be so I can get there. So like those little subtleties I think are really critical, but I just want to always be an open ear and open heart, you know, to everything her, you know, and so that's the cool part.
Take notes, fellas. He's giving you some great advice right
You asked
here.
that question for a reason.
I did. I'm
What
like, man, let me get out the doghouse real quick. Let me see what Russ is gonna tell me.
You was taking notes
Real
today.
fast. I was like, where? I was like, yeah, man, got some great advice right here. But Russ, we always like to end our show with America's #1 segment in all of podcasting. We call it Fuck With It or Fuck Out of Here. It's when we took on the best trending topics in sports, pop culture, entertainment, everywhere, and we decide
if you fuck with it or fuck out of it.
now we can give it the radio edit. You know what I mean?
We can't.
You say I do.
All right, guys, let's line it up. A young woman was stopped to have her bag searched going through TSA. It was revealed that she had a whole rotisserie chicken in her bag. She says bringing the chicken gives her a first-class experience. Russ, fuck with it or fuck out of here. Sitting next to someone eating a whole rotisserie chicken on a flight. Do we have this?
I just got pulled aside by TSA for having something crazy in my bag, but I told her this is how you give yourself a first-class experience without paying for first class. So let me show you.
That's a whole food chicken.
Okay,
That's
whole rotisserie chicken.
Wegmans.
I gotta get my protein in the flight. I hate buying airport food, so I usually just try to pack like a salad or something. And I didn't have time, so I was like, let me just get like a whole chicken from Whole Foods, and this is gonna hold me over for like the entire day, pretty much.
That's first off,
I fuck with it. I respect the game. I respect the game.
really. Hey, listen.
Like, what's the craziest shit you bought on the plane before?
Me?
Yeah, any of y'all.
Man,
Food.
I'm
Just
some
with chicken in the bag. is
Some
crazy.
ribs.
Yeah,
I make some
like,
slapping ribs. You
definitely-
gotta come over to the crib one day. But I make some slapping ribs. I ain't gonna lie.
Commercial flight.
Commercial flight.
You bought ribs on the flight?
Ribs, bro, some ribs on
That's
the flight.
aggressive.
Well, I could cook.
They were
but,
saucy
yeah,
ribs
yeah.
or they were dry
I'm not
rub?
saying you can't cook.
I ain't telling you my secrets.
They dry rub or
I ain't
saucy?
That's
telling-
crazy.
Hey man, come to the
I'm
crib.
all right, you know what?
Treat you
Hey,
for it,
you in
man.
New York now, so I'm gonna take you up to that offer, man. Get some ribs.
Beef ribs, man. I like beef.
loves
You like beef ribs, not pork ribs?
I don't eat pork, man.
Okay.
Hey, man. Hey, yeah.
Something I didn't know. I didn't know
Yeah, you do a pot and pot. You know, maybe you do 1 and 1. I'm good with the 1 and 1.
Hey, I
got
think I did a Five Guys burger on a flight one time, and you
That's
know,
the craziest thing you brought on a flight.
burgers are aggressive already, but a Five Guys burger, if you ever had one, is just like it's so messy.
Nobody in the
It's-
show has ever had Five Guys.
Never. Nah, I'm the only
On
one.
the flight, though.
On the flight. On the flight, you got mad pickles, mad sauce. It's aluminum foil.
The bag,
You know what I mean?
the bag of
The bag
fries.
is
though.
nasty. Yeah, the bag is
It's
nasty.
aggressive. It's aggressive. I've never done a rotisserie chicken though. That's crazy. Now, if you ask me the craziest thing I've ever done in a movie theater to bring, that's a whole different. I brought whole meals to movie theater.
You guys just
Jacket.
sneaking in.
Oh, yeah.
Jacket.
Oh, yeah,
Smelling
of
like a
course.
whole outside. You
Yeah, it's
smell like a
yo,
barbecue.
I'll have a little couth, right? Like in the movie theater, you can at least, get a little corner.
What
you know.
movie you was watching?
Oh man, I think it was
That says a lot
Iron
about the
Man.
cuisine.
I think it was Iron Man 3. I think it was
Oh, you
one of
had
those-
like,
it was a
you had
bit
like
ago.
Popeyes and shit.
I was wilding. I was young, mid
Yeah,
20s.
Popeyes and shit. Yeah,
It was a knife and fork experience. That's why I knew I was doing too much. It was not finger food at all. Fellas, there's a new product on the market to make sure your waves are spinning. Let's take a look, ladies and gentlemen, at the beard do-rag. Play that tape.
Yo, what is people doing? Nah, come on.
Nah, fuck out of here.
Yo, come on, man. Are you shitting me?
Yo!
No way.
I'm telling you right
They
now.
look like Rick Ross.
I'm telling you right
They look like Rick
now.
Ross.
I am fucking with it.
Nah.
You're not fucking with that. There's no way you're fucking with that. There's no way.
We'll get you one then.
Gentlemen, fuck with it or
You
fuck
should
out
be
of here.
banned. I'll
Outta
fuck
here.
out of here. All the
Fuck
way
out of here with
Like,
360 waves on the beard. Listen, I guess I'm the beard authority on the episode today, just for a little bit. I'm doing it.
So hold on. So you saying you would do that?
I'm doing it 1,000%. 360 waves on the joint.
You should do it. Why don't you do
1,000%.
it?
I'm making it do it.
Why don't you do it?
Well, let's get the 360 beard wave do-rag. I will wear it. Next time we tape, my joint's going to be spinning on my
Nah,
face.
you can't sit
Pause.
right there with that.
Joint going to be looking crazy.
We're going to leave it there. We wrapping this up. Russ, man, I appreciate you, man. He over here talking about bench chairs, do-rags.
I'm getting it, yo.
No,
Watch.
listen, man, Russ, on a serious note, man, we appreciate you coming sit on this couch, brother. Welcome to New York.
Yeah, man.
It's a blessing to have you in this city, to be representing this city, me understanding what it means to represent this city. Like now, you got an opportunity to do that. The family, you know, our personal relationship
Yeah.
and our relationship that's gonna continue to grow and grow. So we appreciate you sitting on this couch, man.
Man, it's an
7
honor to be
p.m. in
here.
Brooklyn.
It's
Russell
an honor, legend.
fucking Wilson.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm grateful y'all had me, man.
Man, come on, man. We got 2 future Hall of Famers right here on the couch. Where else can you get this but right here on 7 p.m. in Brooklyn, a Wave original presented by FanDuel. Guys, subscribe to the YouTube podcast channels, like, rate, and review. I know you love the podcast. If you do, if you want to see us rise up in them rankings, you want to see this show continue to blow up, those likes, those comments, those reviews mean a lot. There's a YouTube chart out there. I want to be number 1 on that joint because every time we kick it off, y'all in the comments, y'all in the lives, y'all going crazy on the YouTube. So show the 7 p.m. in Brooklyn community what it is, man. Guys, for the QB1 of the New York Giants, for the Hall of Famer Carmelo Anthony, my name is Kazim Famiwide. Catch you on the hook next time, people. Peace.
Peace.